Celebrating any of your team's victories, celebrate with Remy Martin Cognac, XO, VSOP, and 1738. Remy Martin, team for excellence.
Attention racing fans, check out Ignition at Ghost Bar, presented by Neck Vodka. Join them for an exclusive F1 racing fan experience.
Let's slide on in. What's up, everybody? What else do I need? Little iPad action? All right. Good to see everybody. Who's ever in here the earliest, I appreciate it. Yes, Dom. You got to give away. I'm going to give away some stuff at some point for who gets in here, who helps us the most, who promotes us the most, who's the best teammate here, the bricklayers, everybody. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. Do you have the Jerry stuff?
Yeah.
And it is in regards to?
He's the question's in it, but he's asked Trey if Trey Lance is going to get a start.
Cool. All right. I don't know if I'm the best, but I'm better than most, man, because I care about this. And I got Danny in. Bobby's out today. We are streaming live on YouTube and the Raiders mobile app and LV Sports Network. And an actual radio station, as radio stations are going out of business around America, we have a vibrant radio network in Lotus Broadcasting. So that is exciting. You know, I know I could be a pain in the ass. I could be cranky Yankee, but I truly like being on the radio a few hours a day. Yesterday was a long day. Yesterday was 5 hours. I think I'm going to do a live stream maybe tonight on this channel. We're trying out some new technology, got some new sponsors, and all of that. And also, I'm going to throw in the chat what you want to talk about. I am not doing 2 hours on the Raiders. I'm not. I love the Raiders. I live for the Raiders. I work for the Raiders. Joe Douglas got fired today by the Jets. Jerry Jones. Why didn't he play Trey Lance last night? Paul Gutierrez joins us from the Raiders at 10 after, so we'll get into the Raiders there. But the Steelers, my biggest surprise of the year, but what you're going to start seeing is I'm talking sports, man. I'm not apologizing. For talking sports. And we'll go from there. You good with mics? Good. Let's do this.
Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes it off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10, touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we get rolling today on the flagship of the Silver and Black, also my YouTube channel at JT the Brick YT, where you can see us live in studio and talk to us and make new chat friends. Everybody likes to chat still, right? People are chatting. They're in the chat room and all that, and we got a good group of people here, and I thank them, and I thank you always for listening. As I was telling the chat as I kick off the show here, I never take a radio show for granted. What an honor it is to be on any platform. You got radio stations going out of business. You got actual radio stations and networks in trouble here in radio. Oh, it's a podcast world we're living in. No, it's not. We're doing radio. Radio's not going away. Radio's going to be here forever. It might change a couple of different ways you listen on a podcast, or you stream it, or you listen hours after the show, whatever you're doing. I am all about live radio. I'm all about having the honor to talk to you live. Or anything can happen when you're live. And radio is a lot easier than a stand-up comedian. Can you imagine being a stand-up comedian and having to do an hour set live and forget your lines? Or, you know, being someone who's a singer in a big rock band, and next thing you know, a bottle's flying over your head and chaos is happening. So I love live radio because I don't know what's going to happen. Every time I host a radio show, And I think I've hosted more hours combined, and that's not a good thing, than anyone the last 25 years. I don't know of anybody who's done more hours than I have because of the length of the shows I do. They're normally long, they're at night, they're during the day, they're long. Pre and post game shows, but I love the live interaction that I get with you. So as I open up the show, I want to remind everybody, we're not a podcast. I'm going to do one of those later today. We're live. So if you want to say anything in real time on anything in sports, use these 2 hours or an hour on YouTube, whatever I'm going to do today, to sound off like you got a pair. Let's get going again, and let's get some passion rolling. Now, the monologue is brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat. They own Arizona Charlie's, the Laughlin Entertainment Center. They own a lot of things in this town, plus 70-plus taverns. PTs, they fuel the monologue. They have an unbelievable happy hour, 5 to 7, midnight to 2. They are my proud partner. I go first with them every day because they've been with me the longest, and I thank them every day I can. So I'm just going to talk here for about 7 or 8 minutes, and Paul Gutierrez, will join us going forward on the Raiders. For those who are here for Raider content, okay, this is where it gets a little dicey. I've been doing this a long time, so I know where the cliff is. I know where the barbed wire fence is. I know where the car spins off the road, right? Spins off the road and is going to hit an embankment. I think I know that better than everybody. I say cautionary times are in front of us. I don't know what's going to happen. More and more people are asking me about Tom Brady, Tom Telesco, Antonio Pierce, Max Crosby, and all that. I tell you what I know. But I also don't tell you things that are speculative that could just be ridiculously wrong because I need to fill a couple of hours of the radio. I don't do any of that. I don't think it's good. I don't have anything new to tell you. Tomorrow I interview the coach. After I'm done interviewing the coach, I told Danny, if you add up the entire population of South America, Africa, China, and Pakistan, which are billions of people, I'm one of the only people in the world that gets to talk to an NFL head coach exclusively every week. Well, he's been good to me. I've been good to him. We have good conversations. I ask him most of the things you're supposed to ask the coach. Who's playing? Who's not? How come the quarterback's starting? Why isn't the other quarterback starting? What's wrong with the team? Why can't you sustain this? Yada, yada, yada. I ask all that stuff there, but I don't ask certain things that are going to make a coach really uncomfortable in that environment, let alone the guys downstairs like Paul Gutierrez. We know where the team is. This is one of the worst losing streaks I've ever seen in Raider history. Okay, there's been some Raider teams that have struggled. There's been some Raider teams that have had highs and lows. This is the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a short chapter in the history of the Silver and Black, which overall has been a great book. The history of the Raiders going through a 20-year tough time. No other, I've been here for all that. And I can tell you this is one of the toughest roads I've seen them navigate. And changes are happening all the time because the owner, Mark Davis, wants to get it right. And again, if you're a Raider fan and you don't understand his passion for being with this team and being the son of Al Davis and Mrs. Davis and wanting to win, then you don't know Mark. He wants to win. He built an empire now on business coming here, but his focus is winning games. And if he doesn't like something, he makes a change. And if he doesn't like something, he makes another change. And a lot of people are saying patience now. Other people want to win. I'm dealing with a group of fans who are very emotional because they don't want to win, but their DNA says they're a Raider fan. And when you walk into a bar with a Raider shirt on, you got a Raider shirt on and you walk into a bar with a Raider hat that says Raider Nation, you kind of don't want to be turning into that guy at the bar that says we need to lose out because that's what Al Davis would never do. So if you disagree with the concept of wanting to win every time you compete and you want to lose, you're in the minority. But I understand a minority of listeners listen to me. So, I'm not asking you to put yourself in my shoes, but give me a break. Put yourself in my shoes. I want the team to win every game. I want the team to get the best quarterback available. I want the team to do great things. Obviously, I do. But we got to navigate through some waters now that have shark-infested waters. We're trying to find out. There are people's jobs at stakes here, man. People's jobs, and they have wives, and they have kids, and they moved here, and they're making this decision and that decision. This is a really rough time as the team is trying to find a way with what they have left on the schedule and the players that they have who are mostly injured, right? Most of the team is injured, significantly injured, to figure out how they're going to win games. or to figure out how they position themselves to go get a quarterback, which we all want. For those who think I'm cryptic, I want a quarterback too. I like all the quarterbacks who have been here. I've interviewed them all. They're good guys. Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell. Go down the list. Derek Carr, I hosted a show. He was here for 9 years. They're all good guys. They all deserve to start. They all deserve to play. But one hasn't stuck yet to the point where they can win and be elite at the level of Patrick Mahomes and the elite quarterbacks that are out there. I mean, look what's going on with Dallas last night. Look at Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. Look at Trevor Lawrence with Jacksonville, a former number 1 pick. Look at the Colts with Anthony Richardson. Caleb Williams. I love Caleb Williams. I love that guy. I would have traded 3 first-round picks for Caleb Williams, and now there are fans that want to run him out of Chicago. The business of getting a quarterback is extremely difficult. I am a fan. I don't need to say this, but I'll say it. I am a fan of getting a veteran quarterback. I've always been a fan of that because I saw Rich Gannon, and I know the history of Jim Plunkett. Yeah, that's worked for this team really good, right? And then Ken Stabler was a drafted quarterback out of Alabama, and he didn't play for a long time, right? So Ken Stabler wasn't, hey, we drafted you, we're going to put you in rookie year. No. He had to go to the Continental Football League, Wikipedia that one, and come back here, and he had to be behind multiple quarterbacks until he got a chance. And then he turned out to be one of the greatest players to ever play. It's not easy. Everybody's coming after me with Shador. So today I'm watching a show where a guy's saying, trade Micah Parsons for Shador. Oh, my God, doesn't know the rules, doesn't know the calendar, doesn't know the players. Tank for Shador. You think Jerry Jones is going to tank? Does anybody understand the difference between an owner like David Tepper in Carolina compared to former owner Al Davis, Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft? And they wake up every day and they want to win. And some guys are having a long drought. I mean, Jerry's drought is really long. Last night, I'm like, where's Trey Lance? Why isn't Trey Lance in the game? Where the hell's Trey Lance? Well, listen to this soundbite as we open up the show, because Jerry's the GM and the owner of the team, and he's already being asked at his home ballpark about the next quarterback.
Even though Cooper played better, is there some point you would like to see Trey Lance start and play some?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I want to give our team the very best chance it can to, in all phases, be successful. And so we're going to go here with a quarterback that gives us the best chance to win the game.
Wow, that's an important soundbite. We're going with the best quarterback who gives us the best chance to win. All right. Well, what are we doing here? What's the plan here? I'm all for you go with Desmond Ridder, because I it doesn't matter that I like Gardner Minshew. He plays guitar. He's got a mustache. He's got longer hair. I like Gardner Minshew. Why wouldn't I? I think Desmond Ridder should be playing because he threw an unbelievable touchdown pass to Brock Bowers in Cincinnati. But then Gardner came back and gave Brock 16 targets. 16. I like that too. I don't know who gives the team a better chance to win. How the hell would I know that? They got Norv Turner, Scott Turner, Antonio Pierce. They got everybody else there. So I think Desmond Ridder gives the Raiders a better chance to win, but I'm not Norv Turner and Scott Turner. Their playbook might fit Gardner Minshew better. That's why Gardner Minshew's already been announced to be the upcoming quarterback of this game against Denver, as I bring in Paul Gutierrez from ESPN. And Paul, here we go again. We did this, you and I, with Jimmy G, Aiden O'Connell. Does Jimmy come back when he's healthy? Do you keep Aiden for the end of the year to see what we got? Well, what do the Raiders have with Desmond Ridder and Aiden O'Connell coming back? And how is Gardner Minshew continuing to start for this team?
Yeah, JT, thanks for having me. And I think that was the big kind of reveal, I guess, coming out of the bye, was that would have been the time to throw Desmond Ridder out there last week at Miami, because he would have had the entire bye week to get ready. And with the new offensive play caller in there and some tweaks to the system, obviously it didn't happen. So that pretty much tells you what you need to know in terms of what they probably think about Desmond Ridder and what they think about Gardner Minshew. And then when you look at the game itself, the offense looked better. The results weren't better. I mean, they still lost the game, but at least it looked a little bit better. So again, it comes down to the quarterback play, the most important position in all of team sports across the globe, in my opinion. And, one more thing. Aiden O'Connell is eligible to come off of IR after this next game because he had to sit 4 games with that broken thumb. Nope, doesn't mean he's coming back right away, but that's just something to kind of put in the back pocket.
Yes, Paul Gutierrez is our guest. The quarterback quandary is here, and you write some of the best content I've seen in the NFL surrounding the Raiders also, and you got fans screaming at you as you walk through airports or you're hanging out having a beverage saying, how do we get Shador? How do we go get Cam Ward? So how are you adjusting to that when you have to actually stand in front of the head coach and stand in front of these quarterbacks and get content from them?
Yeah, well, it's a delicate dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as I was listening to you earlier, I mean, obviously these guys, these coaches, Antonio Pierce, his staff, they're coaching for their jobs. They're coaching to win games. It's an awkward situation because, had they lost that final game last year to Denver, they have a better draft pick. They have an easier schedule, yada, yada, yada. But at the same point, if they lose that game, who knows if Antonio Pierce gets the job? So you got to weigh things equally here. So if you lose out and you're in a position to draft what can be seen as a franchise-type quarterback, and what a lot of people are saying is really not that strong of a quarterback draft class anyways, who's going to be the coach? Who's going to be the GM? How much of a say is Tom Brady going to have in this? And when you look at the tea leaves and you try to put everything together, everything kind of points to the Shedeur Sanders when you talk about the connection that he has with Tom Brady, having worked out with him before. But as I've said before, I've said it on Raider television. If you're drafting Shedeur Sanders, you're not just drafting the quarterback. You're also drafting the old man. You're marrying yourself to Dion as well, for better or worse. And I'm not going to go one way or the other here, but that's just something that has to be considered as well.
Paul Gutierrez is our guest. That's a really important point. Again, and you know me long enough, I'm not the guy that talks draft in November. I don't, because it's just the death of content. I preview the games. I recap the games. And as I was in Miami and I go back to the Miami game, there it is, under 4 minutes, down 5, about to go 3 and out Miami. There's a pass interference, resets the clock, and then the Raiders have a broken play in coverage there. The Raiders were very close to getting the ball back with timeouts and an opportunity to win the game. That is a fact if you go back and look at the clock and all that. And then another absolute meltdown. And I can't go crazy about the meltdown because, Paul, they're backup players. Nate Hobbs isn't in the game. Jack Jones is out at that point in time. The injury to Jacorian Bennett. And then there's a broken play. Game over. Gardner throws a really bad interception after that. Then you look at the box score. If you're on a plane or in an airport, you think the Raiders got blown out.
Yeah, and that's Antonio spoke about that yesterday. He talked about just the need for the team to get over that hump in the second half. And it's a weird deal. I mean, you just get this sense that it's and you'll know this from your guy Yogi Berra. It's like deja vu all over again when it comes to the second half. And with this 6-game losing streak, it's their longest in-game losing streak since Derek Carr as a rookie lost the first 10 games of 2014. So that's what we're talking about. This is a decade now we're talking about. So there's just something here where the team has to somehow believe in itself. Somebody has to step up. Somebody has to make that play. But then when you look on the field, like you just mentioned, if you look at what this projected defense was going to be coming out of training camp to what finished that game at Miami, they're missing 6 or 7 starters from that projected defense. So as Antonio alluded to yesterday, it's very fluid, but they don't want to use it as an excuse. So I'll go ahead and make the excuse for them, right? I mean, this is not the defense that they planned on playing with, and yet that's the NFL, and you have to be able to adjust on your feet.
Paul Gutierrez is our guest. Any other thing in that game with, seeing Brock Bowers? So I was in the booth with Lincoln and Jason, and I sat with my wife, and we had some decent seats with friends, and I'm watching Brock from a fan perspective for a few minutes. Man, his release, the way he breaks the huddle, his body I'm a big body language guy. NBA, your years with the Running Rebels. I love body language, right? You get off the bench, you're ready. This guy breaks the huddle. He gets in the slot. He's looking at the quarterback. He's looking at the safety deep. It's just beautiful to watch. How fortunate is this? And you wrote about it. The Raiders have this guy as a draft pick in their back pocket. Could you imagine this team if they took Muwaga or someone else that I liked because they wanted to fill a need and Brock Bowers wasn't in this organization going forward?
Yeah, I'll again, I had some pretty bad takes over the course of my career, but I think this might be one of them was draft. I threw my hands up. Why are you drafting a tight end? You've already got Michael Mayer. You already signed Harrison Bryant. And yet they did. They went with the best player available rather than the right tackle, right? So, no, he's definitely their best player right here, right now, their MVP. I wrote about it last week on ESPN.com, and the thing that's most impressive to me about him is he's just this unassuming kid from Napa. Yeah, he's got the pedigree of being at Georgia, being in the SEC and winning there and everything. But when you talk to him and you just talk to him at his locker and just shoot the breeze with him, he's just this unassuming, big kind of kid who just loves ball. And when I asked him what's changed, not only from a couple of weeks ago, but from the beginning of camp, from OTA's rookie minicamp, what he told me should send a chill down the spines of opposing defensive coordinators.
Wrapping it up.
JT, the game is slowing down for him.
Wow.
The game is slowing down.
Wrapping it up with Paul Gutierrez. So, Paul, one of the delicate topics is Michael Mayer. It's not delicate to me. It's none of my business why he was gone. None of my business. He was gone. He's part of this organization, part of this roster. He's back. And it was good to see him on the road. Big smile. How are you handling this story? Because I need to see him get more targets. You heard me screaming about that with McDaniels in that era. And he's back now. And if Brock's getting 16, I'm great with that. I'd like to see Mayer go to 7, 8, 9 targets a game as a receiver / tight end. Could that happen by the end of the year?
Well, you saw who was the first pass thrown to?
Yeah.
It was to him, if I'm not mistaken, just to try to get him going. And I thought that was a good thing, too. You're right. How do I cover the story? When it's something sensitive like that, and I think we all kind of have an idea where it's kind of springing from, you let him tell his story. I'm not into gotcha journalism. I'm not into the clicks. I'm into telling good stories. And if and when he wants to tell his story, I've got a pretty good platform at ESPN to let him tell it. But that's the way to cover it. But also, it's nice to have a feel-good story in the midst of, like you said, one of the worst losing streaks this team has endured in over a decade, too. So that's how I kind of cover it. But it was interesting to see him get that first target and how they tried to get him going. And there he was in a locker room, stand-up guy talking in front of all the cameras and microphones. He's not running away from it at this point.
Paul, last one. The Denver Broncos have never beat the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas. I think that's pretty cool. I'm trying to slow down from a fan and season ticket holder's perspective, the emergence of the Chargers in Denver being from bad teams to elite teams. I think there's a lot for the Raiders to play for. The fans don't like Denver. I think Denver's on a roll. The Raiders could slow down their roll and eventually keep them out of a wild card. What's the big storyline for this game coming up Sunday?
Yeah, the storyline is I think Sean Payton can actually coach a little bit. We've seen what he's been able to do with Bo Nix at the quarterback. Bo Nix, maybe some people slept on him too much in the draft, but it's a rivalry game. And anything else, records, you throw out the window because it is literally a rivalry game. Then again, it kind of depends upon who's playing defense for the Raiders, because that's going to tell the tale as well.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate your time as always.
And one more thing, JT, real quick. I heard you earlier say you wanted people to take a walk a mile in your shoes. I would have loved to have been in your shoes when you were at Dodger Stadium for Game 1 of the World Series, but probably not for your reason.
I would think that'd be very accurate for you to say that. Congrats, kid. Hey, listen, you better not get Soto, because here's the deal. I don't want to give Soto $650, $700. I don't like anybody extorting money because Scott Boras thinks he can get that. But he met with the Dodgers, I think today or yesterday. I'm one of those guys where you don't let a guy out of the room. If you're in the room, do you think the Dodgers or the Mets have a better shot at getting Soto away from the Yankees?
You know what? It depends on if he likes New York. If he likes New York, then I would think the Mets would have a better shot at it. But then again, he's been on the West Coast as well with the Padres. So money. At the end of the day, I think money is going to talk and everything else is going to walk.
Thank you, Paul.
Take care.
Paul Gutierrez. That was really good. He talked about the delicate world that he lives in. I think I live in somewhat of a delicate world when we're trying to cover the team. He's a journalist. I'm part of the team in a media way. But you look at this, it is getting complicated on what you do with a quarterback when you have quarterbacks and you have 7+ games left or 6 games left. And, Danny, you got to play out the rest of the season.
Yeah, going back real quick to the Soto talk, there was a rumor by a former baseball player who he told one of the media members who tweeted about it. His name is escaping me, but apparently the Mets have offered Soto a contract in the $660 million range.
Yeah, and the other rumor that's out there that I think can be confirmed is they'll offer Soto, the Mets, $50 million more than the highest offer. So let's say the Yankees come in at 600. Remember, they're paying Cole and Judge. They're paying Judge and Cole. And then the Yankees go, we'll go to 620, that's it, which I think they should. I don't think you say blank check. And then the Mets go, okay, 670. That's who you're competing with. 702-365-9200. Chris in West Oakland gets to start us off today. Hello, Chris. Do we have Chris there?
Hello?
Yeah, we got you, Chris. Go ahead.
All right, hey, listen, I want a great interview with Paul Gutierrez. Always good stuff from him. And, hey, one other thing, JT. Did I hear correctly? Did the widow of Jerry Tarkanian, Lois, pass away yesterday? I know what huge news that probably would be in Vegas.
It is big news, and we'll talk about that. Thanks for bringing that up, Chris.
Okay, that's more of a national show. But as you know, living in Vegas, the Raiders, you could take the NFL. I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's still not a bigger sports icon in the city of Las Vegas than Tark the Shark. Rest in peace, Lois. I had the pleasure of meeting her once with her husband. Seemed like a very nice lady. But let's get to the Raiders. Look, man, let me look back and then ahead because this is going to be my only call of the week. You know, you kind of hit the nail on the head about the game on Sunday. Teams depleted with injuries. They went out and competed. They just, it's like you said, at the end of the game, you got mental breakdowns. You got guys that shouldn't even be playing right now. But that's life in the NFL. I will say this, though, JT, and there's been a lot of Brock Bowers talk. Absolutely love this kid. I'm glad we got him. That being said, as great as he is, we're 2-8, JT. Tight ends don't change the landscape of teams. And I'm not saying I'm glad we got him. He's a great building piece going forward. But you brought up something about the Broncos. I don't ever want to lose, but maybe if we lose that last regular season game, JT, in the grand scheme of things, we got Michael Penix or Bo Nix right now, and we're not having this quarterback discussion. But that, again, I won't do that in November. Let's talk for another day. Let's talk about the game.
But hold on a second, Chris. Hold on a second. I want to push back on something because, you can drafting a Aaron Rodgers or a Peyton Manning is almost impossible, but you can with the number one pick they didn't. Brock Bowers is generational. You're a generational Raider fan who went to games with your dad in the 70s. We got one of those now. I know you appreciate him. I don't need any quarterback jargon about throwing away 3 or 4 round first picks. It wasn't a reality. We should be thrilled that we got Brock Bowers going forward. You do not get a guy like that. He does not walk through your door.
Sorry, JT. If you think, and I'm just showing this as an example, I would gladly give up 3 first-round picks for Jaden Daniels and not have Brock Bowers. This is nothing against Brock Bowers. A generational tight end. And absolutely, he has that look. And I appreciate him. A generational tight end does not change the franchise like even a really, really good, not elite quarterback. There's not a single quarterback in this draft I wouldn't trade for Brock Bowers right now. Nothing against Bowers. But in the grand scheme of importance in the NFL, a quarterback on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 15. A tight end is a 6.5. That being said, let's move forward, JT. I'm with you. You interview Coach every week. You can't sit on there and talk about the future. Hell, he doesn't know what his future is unless he's been given assurance from Mark Davis, which I don't know this. Maybe you do. He'll be back no matter what next year. You got to go out and play. Does Desmond Ridder give you a better chance to win? The fact that we're having a conversation about Desmond Ridder this time of year kind of tells you where the Raider quarterback situation is. But if you're Antonio Pierce, I got to do whatever I got to do to win another few games, hopefully to at least get another season. One thing I'll say about him, there's no quit in this team, JT. They're depleted by injuries. Every week the other team has a better quarterback. I haven't seen any quit in this team. They come out ready to play. They come out fired up. Sometimes you're just not good enough. Yeah, Pierce has made his mistakes. He's not perfect as a coach. But the one thing I can't say at this point is the players haven't quit on him so far. And for a season that a lot of people had such high expectations, I can only imagine how desperate and disillusioned this locker room is right now. So you know what? Go out and compete your ass off Sunday. If you got to yank Minshew and go to Ridder, don't be scared to do it. Do whatever you got to do to win if you're Antonio Pierce. Just show up, play your ass off, give the hard-earned money that people are spending to come and see you a reason to come out and cheer. I can't predict the win, but I think they'll be in the game. I think they can compete. But, like I said, that being said, JT, I don't know what else there is to talk about. The season is shot. Unless you want to talk about tank football games, quarterback radio, which we don't want to do, what else can you do other than say, hey, guys, strap it on, go out and compete? That's really all there is.
Okay.
So, thank you, my friend. I'll talk to you you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And Chris, who's one of my favorites and a good friend and one of our all-time greats, says, well, what are we supposed to do? Did you hear what he just said? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to recap football games and preview football games. That's it. That's all we're here to do. We're here to recap games that are played on Monday and Tuesday and preview the opponent that's coming in. What else is there to do? I've been doing this close to 30 years. Am I missing something? What am I supposed to do? Have bracket contests for candy bars? Review movies? What do you want me to do? You want me to talk about non-sports, which is really big in this market, and do an hour and a half about what? What? Traffic? Valet charges? What's my favorite restaurant? We're here to talk football on a flagship of an NFL team. When we get closer in the calendar to the draft, we're all in on the draft. I get to anchor the draft. I get to sit around and talk to people normally and do that. And then we'll do that. We get to the Super Bowl. We go to New Orleans. We set up a Radio Row. Raiders signs everywhere. What do? We talk Raiders. And at that time, at the Super Bowl on Radio Row, I'm assuming every guest we have on will be, who do you think the Raiders should take in the first round of the first pick if they don't have it, because we'll know the order of the draft. That's what we'll do. Until then, we're going to preview the Broncos. And I luckily, I know hundreds of Raiders fans personally who hate the Broncos. And they are not going to dive down the rabbit hole of keep it close but lose in the fourth quarter. How do you lose in the fourth quarter? You fumble it on purpose? You throw a back shoulder interception on purpose? I mean, imagine what I'm dealing with here. Imagine what I'm dealing with on social media and chat rooms. You claim you want to win. But if you can't win, lose. Oh, my God. I didn't take that class in college. I didn't take that class as I waited in line for over 50 years of my life with my dad and my cousins to go into sporting events in the cold and the rain and the drizzle, being passionate about sports, to say, well, I'm going to change this year for a handful of fans that want to lose games on purpose. Not going to happen here. Could happen, and it is happening in other platforms, and they'll be welcome to welcome you. Let's get back to basics and beat the donkeys. They hate you. Do you understand that? I should pull in Steph McKenzie, who's got great stories, or Lincoln Kennedy, who went into the crowd. Lincoln Kennedy's calling the game. They threw snowballs at Lincoln Kennedy and tried to injure him. He went into the crowd. You think Lincoln wants to call the game for a draft pick or win the game? It's insanity. We're going to win these games, and then the draft board will settle, and the Raiders will be 2 or 1 or 6 or 7, and it won't be the end of the world. You might get Brock Bowers. You might get the best left tackle available. You might get your quarterback. You might have to trade up to get your quarterback. One correction for Chris, he said, well, I much would have liked Jaden Daniels for 3 first-round picks. That wasn't available. 3 first-round picks were offered by a bunch of teams. The commander said, no, we got our guy. You know what's going to happen this year if someone has Shador? Number 1, everyone's going to call. We got 3-4 first-round picks. No, we got our guy. We want Shador. That's what's going to happen. I know that already. But what makes this really interesting, as Paul Gutierrez said, is that Deion Sanders is involved. Well, we got Tom Brady involved now, right? Tom, Mark, Deion, Shador going to the Aces games. That'll be entertaining. We'll have a lot of fun with that. We'll have a lot of fun speculating when we're ready to speculate. So that's it. Now I'm ready to open up the phones and hear from someone other than Chris in West Oakland and Paul Gutierrez. Sound off like you got a pair. 702-365-9200, Raider Nation Unite. I'll be right back. So, Chandler, I had to put one of the little babies in timeout, the fluffer. I had to put him in timeout because he was just being a real jack-off. So who the fluffer? I put the fluffer in a 30-minute JT, the dictator, the bricktator timeout. So I think the fluffer, I only put him in it for 30 minutes. So someone alert me when the fluffer comes back. Sometimes I have to put the kids in timeout like I'm their mommy.
All right, Arnie, I got you. We'll try to get you when we come back. Thank you.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. There's a new way to get to the game, M-Riding. M-Ride is the luxury concierge shuttle service. It's the same bus the players use, so you can ride like a pro. M-Ride will take you round trip from Circle of the Palms to Allegiant Stadium or T-Mobile Arena. No more hassle parking, sitting in traffic, or waiting long taxi or rideshare lines. M-Ride it, and you'll get in and out quickly. Reserve your ride at mridelv.com. Use promo code BRICK. That's mridelv.com, promo code BRICK.
For the Sox fans, upgrade your meal. Add chips and a drink for just $2. Make it a combo for just $2. Visit portasox.com now.
Looking for your next adventure on the road? Finley Toyota has you covered. With an unbeatable selection of brand new Toyotas, you'll find the perfect ride to fit your lifestyle and your budget. Whether it's the rugged Tacoma, the adventurous RAV4, or the powerful Tundra, at Finley Toyota, we make financing easy and stress-free, no matter your credit situation. Finley Toyota, driven to excellence. At the Valley Auto Mall in Henderson or online at finleytoyota.com.
Join us on Thursday, December 12th at Wynn Las Vegas for the annual State of the Chamber and Board of Trustees installation luncheon. Our incoming chairwoman, Janet Guzman, will highlight the Vegas Chamber's priorities for the Las Vegas business community in the coming year. The annual installation event is one of the Vegas Chamber's most popular programs, gathering Nevada's community leaders. Visit vegaschamber.com for more information. Sponsored by the Vegas Chamber in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Kick off football season at Chickies and Pete's, ESPN's #1 sports bar at the all-new Sahara Las Vegas. Take a culinary journey with game day bites, including world-famous crab fries, premium burgers, exciting drink specials, and 20 beers on tap. Immerse yourself in every play with 50 massive screens and cutting-edge sound. Discover Sahara Las Vegas, home to award-winning dining, chic lounges, a stunning casino, and free parking always. Visit SaharaLasVegas.com for more info.
The 90s called. They said the Gordita Supreme is so back in the new $7 Lux Greens box from Taco Bell. It's all looking fresh to death with the pillowy 90s Gordita Supreme alongside the beefy 5-layer burrito, double stacked taco, chips with nacho cheese sauce, and medium drink. All for just $7. It's your wallet's favorite cheesy crunchy combo here for a limited time. Grab yours and relive the decades only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only. While supplies last. Contact store for
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm having one of those days, man. You ever have one of those days where you got to reset an email password for your benefits? So you don't use an email forever. I have my own email. So the one I'm supposed to use, I don't have any idea what the passwords are. So I got to get better at that. I'm not good. One of my tremendous weaknesses, and I have a few, is saving. Because remember, when you don't sign into an account for 3 or 4 months, password's gone.
Yeah.
Inactive. Why are they inactivating my account? Because I didn't log in. They feel like I don't use it, I guess.
All right, here we go. Coming back with one of Bowers' catches.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by PT's, the best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
JT back with you. Want to thank our great friends at, and I mean, they're great as of late. I mean, I have a big remote coming up on Friday. Modelo, we're going to be at Top Golf on Friday from noon to 2. And it's easy to get to. Everybody, don't be afraid of F1. It's very easy to get to. Right off of Tropicana and Koval. Tropicana's open, Koval's open, no problem. Okay, we're not asking you to go to the paddock at F1 to kick off F1. We're asking you to come out to Top Golf. Raider Nation will be there. Modelo will be there. The Black Hole will be there. And we'll have a good time, like we always do. So noon to 2 on Friday, Top Golf, which is always a fun place. They got great TVs, unbelievable sight lines. So You can get there. You come through the airport tunnel to Trop. You go right to Colville. Boom, you're right there. You come down Trop. You're right there. You make a left on Colville. You know how to get there. Top Golf's been around here for a while. So we will be there. And we're going to be there for 2 hours, if not more. And then it'll be the Friday. And we're excited about that, the Friday of F1. I got a friend in town who's taking me to F1 on Saturday. The issue with F1 is it starts late. I'm a late night guy, but I'm not late night before a Raider game on Sunday. So I don't know how the NFL, and I can't believe the NFL gave us an NFL game in this town during F1. They also gave us opening up the season against the Harbaugh brothers. They also gave us one Monday night game, which we'll see if we have it, against the Falcons, who we have zero rivalry with. And then they decided to give us a game F1 weekend. Now, what that's going to do is a lot of people who are in town for F1 are going to say, oh, I'd like to go to the Raider game. Excuse me, there's no tickets. There are none. Zero. There's no box office. I'd like 4 tickets in section 200. So my phone blows up, Danny, this time of year. Hey, I want to come into the game. Where are the tickets? No. There are no. Maybe a Raider fan will sell you his Raider tickets, but don't sell them to the Bronco fans. And, you know, there are Bronco fans out on the West Coast. There's more Raider fans than Bronco fans. Fact, not fiction. That's no debate. Broncos have been a very successful franchise in the Peyton Manning era and John Elway era. The Raiders, again, with their Super Bowls and the Broncos, you can debate who's been more relevant. I say go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame and tell me who's more relevant, the Raiders and the Broncos. That'll shut up any conversation on that. Walk into Canton, Ohio, into the bust room of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and tell me if you see more Raiders or Broncos in that room as we go on. But this is a very important rivalry. You know, this is a very important rivalry, and that's why I'd like the Raiders to win every time they play. Now, the Charger game is the last game of the year, way out there in January. Could I change my temperament heading into the last game of the year? Possibly, but I doubt it, because I don't want the Chargers to come in. The last time they came into our building, we whooped them with 63 points. That was a pretty good memory in my lifetime. 702-365-9200. This place sounds like the summer all of a sudden. I'm back to the summer. I got a 5-month grind in front of me. We're doing summertime radio ahead of the Broncos. Amazing. Arnie, you're up next. Thanks for waiting. Appreciate you.
How you doing, JT?
I'm doing well. What's happening, buddy?
Just, you know, as a Raider fan, kind of frustrated with our performance, our running game, our lack of stopping people on our defense, getting that ball back, more possessions for our offense. Just overall, I mean, I thought we looked a lot better on the offensive end. The flow of the game, the scheme, the play calling was really good on this game. It's just the question I had for you, what are you thinking on our running backs and their lack of vision? I mean, I know there's holes there. I just don't see them hitting them.
Yeah, that's a really fair question. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I think the running back position is underperformed dramatically from Josh Jacobs. You get we have what we have now. I was a fan of Zamir White. I really bought into the fact that Zamir White was going to take the next step. He's been injured a bit. He hasn't been at 100% for a while. Alexander Madison, I like him. He shows a burst. The offensive line is a mix and match offensive line where they move players around a lot, and they're starting to figure out that the young guys, Jackson Powers-Johnson, DJ Glaze, Dylan Parham's still a young player in this league, and they're trying to figure out how to, with the new offensive line coach and Joe Philbin, how to open up more holes and do more. But, yeah, the offensive line, this offensive rushing game has been the worst that I maybe have ever seen in Raiders history. I mean, I've been there for Zach Crockett and John Ritchie, and I know Marcus Allen, and I can go back and name drop with you, back to Clarence Davis and anybody you want. But this offense and this running game is about as bad as I've ever seen. I mean, ever seen in Raider history. They can't get going no matter what. No matter what week, what scheme, what opponent, what game plan, how hard they want to change and play physical. I mean, I interview Lincoln Kennedy every game. Every game he's in the booth at the Torch or on the road and Lincoln comes on for 10 minutes on the pregame show, ask Lincoln. Every week Lincoln comes on and says, he's told me this year, well, you gotta pare it down to only 3 running plays, or I paraphrase, 6 plays. Okay, let's try that. That doesn't work. Misdirection, 1 back sets, handing off out of the shotgun, handing off in the eye, got no fullback. What do you do? And they just can't get any push. And that's really concerning, because the Raider offensive line on a running play knows the snap count. They're supposed to have a millisecond or a second advantage because they know the snap count and they know where the ball's going. The guy behind them, the other team doesn't. Normally. This year, every defensive coordinator knows when the Raiders are going to run. And they stack the box and they say, you're not going to throw it to Trey Tucker. If you're not going to throw any deep balls in a game, literally none, we're going to move everybody up and stop the run. And then they run it up the middle, mostly, and they get stopped. I mean, this isn't brain surgery, man. It's pretty simple to see that the scripted running plays they have because they want to establish the run, right? So follow me here. You go into a game, you're playing the Broncos, you just played Miami. You want to run. You want to establish the run. And you start off and you run it 2 or 3 times, you get nothing and lose yardage. Go to Brock Bowers. Seems to be working. You know, the short passing game is more important than the Raiders' short running game because the Raiders do not have a short running game. So just pass it short. Get the ball out quick and see what happens there. I mean, you can run it. You're going to have to run it a handful of times. But every time we run it, we get nothing. We're going to continue to do this again and again? Yeah, because in the NFL, you have to run the ball. You have to at least pretend or try you're going to run the ball. And the Raiders will try to run it against Denver. And maybe one of these weeks, a hole will open. And you'll see someone get 18 yards or 24 yards or 19 yards. And you go, wow, let's look at the film. What happened there? So that's where we stand on that. The M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Silver and Black. Head on out there to the Raiders Tavern and Grill. They have a great outside pool. The rooms are fantastic. The restaurants, Anthony's is a go-to of mine. We appreciate Patrick and the crew over there at the M Resort. If you're coming in from out of town, make sure you reach out to the M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Silver and Black. All right, I'm a little bit more focused now. Let's see what we'll have.
Previously on Unnecessary Roughness.
Whether we're at the game or we're sitting at home watching it on TV, our expectations of this team, whether they win or lose, there should be a certain standard in place, right?
All right, how we doing in here, man?
From the game and saying
they don't respect our quarterback,
and that's beyond winning. That's effort, the way that they execute. You know,
coaching, I think JPJ's playing strong. Ritter is better.
That everyone,
Ritter is better. So if they don't want to play Ritter, it's because they think they have a better chance with Scott and Norv. With Gardner, and Gardner played okay in the last game. I'm just sick and tired of saying every time they lose, the quarterback played okay. I'd like to see the quarterback play great. Big D tells me I got to put some guy named Juan on blast. I don't see Juan here. I'm Juan. My name is Juan. Carla, is that you? Yes, I saw your text, Carla. It is my birthday on Saturday. Last year, my birthday fell on Thanksgiving Day, not this year. But I will be there for you Sunday, Carla, and you can buy me a birthday cerveza or maybe a Tito's. Will be nice after I finish the pregame show. Oh, the fluffer's back. He said, why you put me in timeout? Yeah, you can have your opinion, fluffer, but you can't be an idiot about it. So if you want to be an idiot, you can go to another YouTube channel where they accept idiots and immature dummies and flourish there. So just look at some of your criticism and some of it, keep it in line. No, yeah, I only put the fluffer. I thought I put the fluffer in a 30 timeout. Yes, Carla, Tito's.
What time did you want to do this interview at?
We'll wait. We'll just hold it. Yeah. How long is it?
Just over 10.
Yeah, we'll probably play it at like 1:30.
Okay.
Got Warren Moon on Thursday. I think we're going to get Richard Seymour or Tom Telesco this week. So we got some good stuff happening. Yeah, lots changed since I was broadcasting in Costa Mesa. Yeah, I got a bunch of friends who want to buy tickets to the Denver game, Fabian. They want to buy 4 seats. They want to buy 2 seats. They're actual Raider fans. So if you know of anybody who has a couple of that they can't make or whatever, let me know, and maybe I can move some tickets for some Raider fans.
Tickets are on sale now for the candiest race of 2024. With multiple zones across the race circuit, there's options for every fan. Discover a variety of brand new general admission, grandstand, and hospitality tickets at F1LasVegasGP.com. There's a new way to get to the game, M-Ride. M-Ride is the luxury
Come back after
shuttle
this.
service. It's the same bus the players use, so you can ride like a pro. M-Ride will take you round trip from Circle.
Carl, I hope your back is better.
Next to Minshew. And he's going to take it out of the backfield, and he speeds his way to a first down marker.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Comisario Tequila, the official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
Yes, Tequila, Comisario. We appreciate them very much as we keep going here, and we'll get you in, and we're going to see what happens here going forward. We're going to take it 1 week at a time. Oh, Danny, I hate saying that. One at a time, shoulda, coulda, woulda, all the things that my brand has not been about for a long time, but we're going to do that. We're going to take the high road. We're going to hope the Raiders win, at least I am, and then we're going to go out there and try to find a way for the Raiders to stay in these games and get going. And Raiders put out 23 hours ago that they released Jalen Guyton from the practice squad. And there's some moves here. Brock Bowers, Deshaun Reed put out this yesterday, 70 catches, second in the NFL, 706 yards, 9th, and 3 touchdowns. Rookie of the Year candidate, on pace to become an all-pro and arguably the best tight end in the league so far this year. Let's stop there for a second. I can do a radio show on that. We got something special going with Bowers. I knew he was great coming in. I never imagined he was going to be a Raider until Bo Nix was taken by Denver and Brock was there. And either Rich Gannon or Lincoln, when we found out it was with Rich Gannon and Lincoln at the Omnia nightclub, and they said, get on stage. It's a cool story. It really is, because Lincoln and I went on stage with microphones and had to really quickly get going with Brock Bowers, and Lincoln started talking about 12 personnel, Michael Mayer, 12 personnel, and I just said, well, I can't believe he's there. I can't believe he's available. How the hell is this guy available? And now I think that's the number one story by far of the year. It's a super positive story. Now, if you put that on the positive side, and we'll wait to see the status. We'll wait to see the status also coming up of Jacorian Bennett. Jacorian Bennett's another really positive player. Jackson Powers-Johnson, DJ Glaze. Okay, now I go to the defense, and I know Max is great. He's an elite player, a Pro Bowler for many years to come. But then I started looking around. I love Robert Spillane. I think he'll be a Raider for a while. Really good player. And then I look around at Trayvon Merrick, and I wonder what he is going to be, if he's going to be here long term. I like him. I think Trayvon Merrick's a good player. But wow, after that, because Devontae's gone, you start looking around, you're saying, who's going to be here? And you got every Raider fan focused on that quarterback in the first round. Man, you might need 6 out of 7 or 8 great picks to start filling back this roster again. And I think Tom Telesco is pretty good at that. I really do. I think Tom Telesco nailed a couple of first-rounders. He doesn't have to prove he's a first-round guy anymore. Telesco's done that with Bowers and Justin Herbert. And don't tell me how easy those picks were. They were not. Other teams were trying to trade up to get those players. He took those players. Now he's going to have an opportunity to do it again. Nash is in Houston. Nash, thanks for waiting. You're up next. Go ahead.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, I was a little puzzled when we took Bowers, but I would not trade him for anything. So I disagree with Chris because I'd rather have that all-pro player in my locker room than taking a chance of trading him for a quarterback who may be great and may not be. But I think, again, I get excited when I think we're playing games that we can win. I thought Miami might be a long shot, but I think, we got a real good shot to beat the Broncos. And to me, I have this huge disdain for the Broncos, a disdain for Sean Payton, and just in general, just don't like them. And I think that if we play a similar style game and get Michael Mayer a little bit more involved and take some deep shots to Trey Tucker, we got an opportunity to score. And we can
wait a second. Wait a second. Where's the deep shots to Trey Tucker? They don't exist. They don't exist. They have to now start becoming prominent. You have Trey Tucker on this roster to do one thing, either two things, either run a jet sweep or run a bomb, a go route. And I don't know. No matter who the coordinator is, play caller, Trey Tucker goes to every game and he doesn't get any targets.
You're preaching to the choir on that one. I mean, again, if you're in 12 personnel or something like that, keep an extra guy in, but you got to make him play every blade of grass on the field. Everybody's so tight, as you just mentioned. It's going to be hard to run the ball because they can sell out for the run because they don't fret the deep pass. If anything, that's quarterbacks to play just because I think they're better with the deep ball than what Gardner is. But be that as it may, to me, I'm excited. JPJ has played really well. I want to see a little bit more of Meredith there to see if this can be our offensive line of the future. And I'll tell you what, JPJ can give us a little insight into Nix as well to figure out what we can do to kind of get him off his spot and defeat them. And the other thing I would predict is the fact that that Surtain is going to be following Bowers all over, so that Trey Tucker and Myers have got to have big games because they're going to try to take him out by putting Surtain on him and follow him all over the place. We still got to give him the ball. And the last thing I'll say is, so I'm predicting a win this week. And again, I think you got fans upset and talking drive now. Wait till this Raider team wins 3 or 4 games in the back half of the year, and the Chargers lie down the last game of the year because they're in the playoffs and there's no reason to win. And then you're going to be freaking out, people, because we're going to move from the 5th spot to the 7th because we beat the Chargers in the last week of the season. But I don't care because it's just win, baby.
Excellent, man. Good to hear that call from Nash. Haven't heard one like that in a while. Again, I don't know what's going to happen with the draft order. I don't. And I'm not talking about it until we get after the season. I might talk about it heading into the last game against the Chargers. If the Raiders are in the 2 or 3 spot and they win, they get knocked back to the 6th spot. Whatever it's going to be, we'll handle it at that point, and we'll handle it in a really high-end way. But other than that, I don't know what to tell you. Again, you're not going to find it here with me on this platform. Predicting mythical draft picks who will not be there. You can't do that. It's just too much minutia and just a waste of time, and I don't want to waste your time. Don't want to waste your time with picks I don't know about. All right, when we come back, we'll reset again. Top of the hour, the Jets, wholesale changes. I'll dive into that coming up here. Josh Alper will join us from Pro Football Talk. I have him lined up. Thanks to everybody on the YouTube channel. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. It's free. And we like to have you on that channel if you can at JT the Brick YT. All brought to you by the 872 Laborers, led by Tommy White. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.